I've often wondered over the years, despite superficial appearances, are Putin and Trump both actually masochists? Do they actually both desire opprobrium, hatred of others, belittling from others, and punishment at the hands of others? This is a very interesting question because it gives us an idea not just about their current drives and motivations and how they act now, but what might happen with them in the future. So what is it that happened to Putin and to Trump that made them the way they are, and what is it about that might make them into someone who might have masochistic tendencies? Well, let's have a look first of all at Trump. Trump, we know, was belittled on a consistent basis by his father. His father, by all accounts, was very much a bully who at best paid little attention to them and at worst poured a great deal of anger and aggression onto them. This he did to all his children. Donald was no exception to that. It certainly was the case on a much larger level to his brother Freddie, who eventually died, and that spiraling was certainly connected to his treatment at the hands of his father and his brother, who then identified with his father. But Donald's experience in early childhood was certainly similar to that of all the Trump children at the time, which was one of belittling and judgment and being regularly put down. The thing about our childhood is that the way that we're raised, or formative experiences that happen to us in earlier parts of our lives, then almost form a kind of climate that we're used to being in and that we always find ourselves gravitating back towards for the rest of our lives. Now that certainly happened with Trump, this atmosphere of being attacked, being vilified, being looked down upon. What about Putin? Well, actually, interestingly, Putin has revealed very little about his childhood. We know that his parents had 2 children before he was born, but we don't know very much about his early years, and he doesn't tell us very much about that. We do know that he was very poor and that he was likely to have been looked down on by other people in society. We know that he joined the KGB, and we know that something major happened to him in the KGB that led all the status he had developed to be questioned, to be put down, and for him to feel a lot smaller as a result. And that was the fall of the Soviet Union. At the time, Putin was a relatively junior KGB agent, and he was based in East Germany, just by the Berlin Wall. And the Soviet Union was literally collapsing at a particular moment that he was stationed in that location. And crowds started to appear in that KGB station, ready to break in, as they had done for much of the Soviet infrastructure, to tear it down. Bricks and stones were coming through the window. Putin feared for his life. He was being sworn at, abused, and ridiculed as part of a regime that is now dead. Somebody who needs to get out and go home or risk death there and then. It was clearly a life-changing moment for him, one in which he was being judged, looked down on, put upon, and attacked by almost the whole of society for being what was considered to be the lowest of the low. What Putin actually managed to do at that point was come out and lie to everybody. This is something he successfully does to stay alive and in power. He lied to everyone and said that there's a whole army of people in the building who are armed with weapons, ready to come out should they cross the boundaries. Luckily for him, the crowd believed it and walked away. They knew it was very possible that the KGB does have a whole armed phalanx ready to kill at will and fire into the crowd. So they all dispersed and left him be. But without doubt, that episode will have left an indelible mark on his psyche and the way he feels about himself. These experiences almost create a vortex within a human being, a suction to bring them back to those moments of greatest intensity. There's a part of our body that always wants to experience those moments of greatest intensity again. Trump at the attack and vilification from his father. Putin at the attack and vilification from the people standing outside the KGB building in East Germany. Now look at what Trump has become. So much of what he does is almost designed to bring upon him the opprobrium and hatred of others. So much of what he does, he must know, must make him deeply unpopular with much of the population. He claims to want to be popular, he claims to want to be loved, but he can only attract people's attention, not their love, because he does it in a way that consciously or unconsciously brings upon him the anger and vilification of others. What is that other than masochism? Going out of your way to be attacked by others. And Putin also did something very interesting too. Not only has he done things, terrible, heinous acts that have resulted in deep hatred and vilification from others, but he seems to be fascinated with the possibility of his life ending in a climax that involves that as well. You see, when Colonel Gaddafi was brought down by an alliance of the West and his own people who rose up against him, he was found in a drainpipe somewhere, hiding away. They pulled him out of the drainpipe, and he was then sexually assaulted with some rods from nearby in a cruel way and killed that way. Now, the video of this scene got into the hands of Vladimir Putin, and apparently he watched that scene of Gaddafi's humiliating death again and again and again and again. He couldn't get it out of his head. He couldn't stop watching it. It was almost as if it was a kind of fantasy. The thing he says he doesn't want to happen, but secretly, unconsciously, he almost does. So both Trump and Putin have this large part of them that wants vilification, attack, humiliation at the hands of others. And of course that masochistic tendency also goes hand in hand with sadistic tendencies, sadomasochism. So in the same way that they may have this unconscious drive to be punished, they also have this drive to punish others and an enjoyment, conscious or unconscious, of that pain that they inflict on others. And the great danger here is that they continue to do things that attract this reaction from more and more people until eventually they are stopped in a final act, a final response of complete and total humiliation. It feels like inexorably they're both headed towards that, and that's also why they also connect with each other, because in some senses, psychologically, there's similarities in their journey there as well. These are some deep psychological labyrinths that unfortunately now the whole world has been dragged into. Thank you for watching my video. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm also interested in philosophy and public policy and politics. And I aim to make a number of videos about these subjects and particularly the intersection between them. If you're able to like and subscribe to this channel, then it'll really help. And also put in some comments whenever you can. That'll really help the algorithm. It'll really help promote this channel to other people. Now, beyond that, we are all, unfortunately, at the behest of a very small number of people who seem to run everything these days. And we are all at the whim of a tech oligarch who could decide tomorrow to end a channel like this because it's not in their favor. And because of that, I've set up a kind of email newsletter, which you can subscribe to. At the top of the channel, you'll see a web address. Please go there and subscribe to my newsletter. That way you can stay in touch with the videos I'm making. At least we can keep the content flowing. So I hope you can do that. And I hope we can keep talking and also gain clarity, not just about what's happening right now, but how we can get through this, how we can improve things to make a better tomorrow together. Thank you.